love and light. So we'll find our sit bones and drop nice and tall and anchor down and grow long through the crown. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And then with the right hand, just put the right hand over the top of the chest and the left hand just about where your belly button is. And we're going to breathe all the way down into our belly button. So as you take a nice deep inhale, see if you can allow that bottom hand to raise first. Fill the lungs and then the top hand to raise. And then as you exhale, the top hand lowers as the bottom hand draws back. So you have this sensation of almost a physical touching that belly button, drawing back to the spine. And then begin again, inhaling long and exhaling long. And as we begin to grow quiet in the thinking mind, or maybe not grow quiet in the thinking mind, we'll bring our attention to our breath. And with deep gratitude, we'll thank our thinking mind and bow to it and say, thank you for being there. I'll call on you when I'm ready and needed. And bring the attention back to your breath. Nicely done. As you begin to feel yourself dropping into the breath, begin to notice how the sit bones connect to the earth. No change is necessary, just notice it. And notice how the back of your legs connect to the floor and the feeling of the knees being bent. And the ankles touching the floor as the toes and the feet soften. And as you feel that right hand on the top of the chest, notice how the heat's beginning to grow under the palm. And set the intention for today's practice. And for anybody who might be hurting, or if maybe you need some extra love in your heart, feel that warmth surround the heart. And breathe into that, knowing that in this moment you are okay. And that at this moment you're deeply supported. Not only physically, but energetically. Supported, protected. And that wherever our practice takes us today, that you honor what happens within your body. That if it's something that you can or cannot do, there's no judgment. There's only allowing the body to take a break. Allowing the body to move into it. With the next inhale, we're going to inhale clear to the top of the inhale and pause. And then release it out. And with the next inhale, scoop the hands down, around, all the way up. We're going to send some love to those beautiful dogs in the backyard as they've just noticed that we're here. And they're going to let us know that they know. And reach those hands up overhead, creating a vortex for the energy to come down from the heavens into the top of the head. all the way through your spine, down, anchoring into the earth. Inhaling, lifting all the way up with the left hand. And exhaling down and inhaling all the way up with the right hand. And exhaling down. And this is not a very large movement, but it's a very powerful movement. So as you inhale and lift that left hand up, feel that belly button draw back. Lift up through the heart, drop out of the shoulder blades, but feel the strength in that arm. And exhale it down. And again, on the other side, lifting it up. And exhaling it down. And we're going to do 3 more each side, lifting it up, following your breath, finding your rhythm. And remember, this is about allowing versus forcing. And lifting. And down. And lifting. And exhaling down. And inhaling up. This is going to be 1 more round. And inhaling. And exhaling. And inhaling. And exhaling, swooping those arms all the way behind you, all the way behind. If you have the space in your body to clasp your fingers with one another, do that. And then press those fingers down to the floor. Growing long in the crown. Drawing that right hand over to the right hip, feeling the left shoulder open. And releasing it down, and then drawing it the other way. And releasing it down. And releasing the hands, inhaling them all the way up. 1 big half sun salutation. And exhaling it down. And then we're going to move right into standing today. So, as you come up into standing, find the best way for you to get there. For some of you, it's going to be with a down dog. For some, it's going to be standing, 1 knee forward, then helping yourself up. But find your way into mountain pose. Feet are hip distance apart. Take a nice deep inhale up. Exhale, swan dive down. Sweeping the floor and then inhaling up. And exhaling down. And inhaling up. And exhaling down. Following the flow of your body. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Beginning to feel the back of the legs warm. Make sure to lift that belly button back to your spine, lifting up, exhaling down. We're going to do 5 more. I'm going to grow quiet, let you have your own internal experience as you exhale, lowering down. Inhaling up, 4 more after this one. So here we go, 4 more. Staying with it, moving with it, nowhere to go, nothing to do, nobody, no, go. Last one, all the way through, all the way. And as you come back up, bringing your hands all the way up overhead, lowering the hands down into mountain. Close the eyes, lift the toes off the mat. Sink to all 4 points of the feet, soften the knees, slide that tailbone down. Draw the belly button back. Breathing into it. Setting the little toe down, the fourth toe, the third toe, the second toe, and at last the big toe. Now, as you set them down, I find that I have a tendency to grip because it's like, oh my gosh, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So soften those toes, slide that tailbone down, lift the belly button back, up, drop down the shoulders, grow long in the crown. Nice deep inhale all the way up. Exhale, swan dive forward. This time we're gonna rise halfway up. Halfway up. Exhaling down and stepping back into downward facing dog, all the way back into dog. Feet are hip distance apart. Knees are soft, heels are off the floor. No forcing this. Allow it to be what it is. Now play with this a little bit. Draw that belly button up to your spine, lift it up to your heart. Slide that tailbone down. So as you slide the tailbone down, you can feel the muscles around your back tighten and be strong. Now as you soften the knees a little bit more, do this gently. Inhale up, lifting up through the left heel, down into the right heel, walking the dog. Inhaling up and switching. Now, anybody with plantar fasciitis, any Achilles, do this slowly. Do this gently. Your pace might actually be slower than anybody else's, but allow the body to unwind and open in its own time. Walking into it. Bringing your breath, remembering that even though there may be pain in the body, that if you drop through the belly button and lift it to your heart and slide that tailbone down, it supports in a way that the bones can release and go where they need to go. So here we go. We're going to inhale up onto the toes. This time we're going to exhale down into the right heel only. Pause. Spin your knee open to the little toe. Yeah. So a little change in how the strength is. So as you lift the kneecap up as if you're drying pantyhose on, notice how it changes. Changes the stretch. 3 more breaths. You can do it. Feel the heat building. Let go of your head. Soften the jaw. Engage that core yet again. Inhale up. Left side. If your arms are getting tired, child's pose is an option. Yes. And spin that knee open. Drop into that heel. Feel the quads engaged. Feel the core engaged. It changes. When you engage your quads, draw that kneecap up and draw that core up. Slide that tailbone down. Let go of your head. All these little things. You'll notice where the weakness is in the leg. One more breath. And then walk your feet forward, coming back into standing forward fold, dropping all the way down, inhaling halfway up. Exhaling down, inhaling reverse swan dive all the way up. This time, exhale your hands down to your heart. Notice how warm the body is when we do those tiny little micro movements. So as you move through dog today, notice those micro movements of lifting through the kneecap, spinning the knees open. Just that little millimeter of movement changes how the muscle fibers strengthen. On the next inhale, drop the hands down, circle them around. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale down, stepping back into downward facing dog. We're going to just pass through dog, so give yourself one expression of dog. Inhaling straight through into plank. Level it out. Elbows facing each other. Draw that belly button up, slide that tailbone down, lengthen through the crown of your head. No looking up. If you have to modify it, do. See how many breaths you can stay right here. One more, and lower straight down. Good job. Lengthen through the left foot, the right foot, lengthen long. Draw those shoulders back, the elbows in close to the body, and then begin leading with the crown of your head as you reach out. Belly button up, tailbone down, and begin to rise up into just this tiny, strong, powerful cobra. It doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be strong. Breathing into it, finding the breath. Exhaling down, turning your head. Don't go all the way to the floor. I did vacuum this morning, but you never know. Inhaling, coming back up. Exhaling, lowering down, turning the head. Inhaling, coming back up. And this time, feel that pubic bone press into the floor. Slide that tailbone down. Elbows back in. Find your breath. We're going to hold this. We're going to come a little higher. You can engage your glutes. It's okay. Help you up. Curl the toes under. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale all the way back into downward facing dog. There it is. There's our dog right there. Breathe into it. Notice how it's different. So dog is a counter pose to cobra. When we go back bend to forward fold. Yes. On the next inhale, we're going to lengthen all the way up through that right leg. Lift it high. Sink into that left foot if you have the space to do so. Now, drop that heel and open that hip. Opening deep in the psoas. Breathing into it. Squaring off the hips. Pointing the toe. And then sweeping it all the way up in between your hands. You might have to help it, I do. But before you go to high lunge, straighten your leg. So we're coming back. Now I'm a little splayed out here. I feel like my legs are 1.5 miles apart. So I'm going to walk my back foot in 1/2 step. And then I'm going to just walk my hands up my shin here. Blocks are a great option if you have them. Okay. Now square the hips off. So how do we square off the hips? Do we remember? We act like we're going to close our knees together. Draw that back knee forward, front knee back. Obviously, that's not going to happen because our feet are anchored into the earth. Drop out of the shoulders. I am up in my shoulders today. So some days we live there. It's okay. Notice it. Engage that belly button. Lengthen through the crown. And then let your nose travel to your knee. It may or may not get there. But imagine that it is. Two more breaths. So everybody, I want you to put your right hand on your shin and with your left hand, cartwheel all the way up into triangle. Those of you in the room are going to be facing away from me, and that's okay. Maybe those at home too. So we're set up for triangle. This is where we're headed. So if you feel like your foot's turned in too much, you can open it up. If you feel like you're too far apart, you can come together, too close together, step it out. Now remember that in triangle, we're going to hinge at the hip. Both legs are straight and long and powerful. Reach for that front wall. And then tip into it. Blocks are okay, but this is not about how far down you go. This is more about hinging and giving yourself permission. Permission. Okay? We're gonna hinge. Nope, don't do anything, just soften. There you go. Now feel that belly button draw back and up, slide that tailbone down. There you go, right there. That's as far as you're gonna go. That's your hinge right there. Huh? I know you can, I'll hold you. So we're just holding and breathing. Those of you at home, you're in triangle. And if you start coughing, let it come. Okay. Come back to it when you're ready. If you need a child's pose in this strong, powerful hold, take it. I'm just working with the people in the studio. Yep, there it is. Cough it out. Sometimes when we adjust, the lungs want to release. And the mind wants to hang on. It's a powerful movement. To when we allow the release to happen and we cough it out, in and out, in and out. Constant adjusting, finding what our new normal is today. Tomorrow it'll be different. That's the beauty of it. There you go, perfect. Nicely done. Inhaling, lifting straight up. Now let's turn back to facing front. Hands are up. Exhaling, diving straight forward. Blocks our shin. Okay? So we're back into this wide angle stance, nose to the knee. Soften the knee forward, not because you're going to lunge, but because you need to come off your blocks. Hands come down beside you and step back into downward facing dog. Nice and slow. Powerful movement here. So as we move, at home, I'm doing my best to talk through what I'm doing so you can adjust as if I am with you. Inhaling straight forward into plank. Eyes and the elbows face each other. Powerful in plank. Belly button up, tail down. There you go. See if you can lower your booty just a little bit more, half an inch. Notice how when you slide your tailbone down, you lower that down, draw your shoulders back, lengthen through the crown. 2 more breaths. And lower straight down, elbows in. Yes, hello, lower. Inhale, lengthen through the left leg, lengthen through the right leg. Elbows together, lift up through the crown. So what happened to me, I came up too quickly. So I'm going to lower back down. I'm going to lengthen through my crown, and I'm going to lead with my crown. As if my head is leading this movement. Growing long, lengthening the spine, creating a suppleness in the spine from the top of the head. Almost as if we're a slinky and we're stretching it out and then bending it back. 2 more breaths. Curl the toes under. Inhale. Exhale all the way back into that downward facing dog. There it is. Notice how the left side and the right side are different. There's going to be subtle differences. I noticed that after triangle, my left heel wants to slide down a little easier than the right heel. Because I open that left hip. Breathing into it. Letting go of the head. On the next inhale, walk those feet forward, coming back up into between your hands. I've got the 5-step walk today. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling halfway up. Noticing the subtle differences. Exhaling down, inhaling, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhaling the hands down center line. Let's take a break here. So standing in Anjali Mudra is a great place to break. Or if you want to go to the floor and do a child's pose, you can do that. Notice what feels best in your body. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Not too close together, not too far apart, just that yummy center spot. Dropping down in the tailbone, lifting up through the belly button. Drawing that head back over your shoulders and then growing long. So it's an interesting phenomenon that if we draw long with our head forward, the whole spine doesn't open, but if you draw your head back over your shoulders and then lift up, you'll feel it clear to your tail. On the next inhale, drop the hands down, circling them around. Exhaling, swan dive forward. Inhaling halfway up. Exhaling down into downward facing dog. Taking your time getting there. Softening into that right foot, lifting through the left leg, lift it up. Now, don't forget the right leg, even though you got your left leg in the air. Make sure you're still spinning that knee open. And then as you lift that leg up, drop it behind you. Feel that psoas begin to open. Spin that knee open a little bit. There you go, good job. Breathing into it. Only working to the level of which your body can handle. Drawing that belly button up and towards your heart. Good job. Inhaling, spinning back around. Bringing that foot all the way up in between your hands. Oh, 2 helps today. Stepping that foot back and noticing how the left leg's different than the right leg. My left hamstring is quite a bit more tight than my right hamstring. So there's that. So with that, I'm going to just give myself a little get out of jail card and say, oh, thank you for supporting me through life. Breathing into it. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Sinking into that back heel. I lifted myself up so that front leg could lengthen. So left hand comes onto the shin. Right hand cartwheels us all the way up. And then I'm going to spin open my back leg, okay? Because it's just too much on my ankle to keep my foot twisted in quite so deeply. Engage that pelvic floor, dropping down through the tailbone, and then hinge at the hips. Reach for that front wall, and then tip, and then tip. So here's what happens when we go down too far is we begin to collapse forward. So less is more. Less is more. This is more about engaging the core, hinging at the hips. Feel it through your hip here. Okay? Breathing into it. Here I come. Walking around. Beautiful. Gentleness. Gentleness. Yes. Beautiful. Looks good. Allowing. So building strength, again, comes. It comes in time. Building flexibility when we've forgotten how to be flexible. That was me. 9 years of forgetting how to be flexible. 4 years of completely forgetting. But the beauty of growing is that then we remember. We remember, we forget, and then we remember. Inhale, sink a little lower. Breathing into it. Working all those little micro movements, those little tiny muscles. Oh, my core is released. My core is engaged. My core is engaged. My belly button's back to my spine lifting up. My tailbone's down. Nicely done. Inhaling, coming up. Opening up. Turning back to forward and flying back down. Moving those blocks out of the way, softening the knees, spin out of that heel, and step that foot back into downward facing dog. This is a great place to take a child's if you want a break. If you're ready, we're going to move straight forward into plank. Spin those eyes of the elbows together. Belly button up to the spine. Looks good.
3 more breaths. Count them out. 2 more. Last one. Elbows in, lower straight down. Drop the knees if you need to, and then come all the way down. Roll those shoulders back. Lengthen long through the crown like that slinky. Pubic bone to the floor. Lift up into Cobra. So we still haven't engaged our hands in Cobra. They're just hanging out like training wheels. You can take them off if you want. Lift them up. See if, take your hands off, please. And lift. Okay, I had a visual of us, boys, all taking our arms off and setting them off to the side in the room. Lifting us up all on our own. Hands come down. Shoulders are down and back. So there's a powerful movement in drawing those elbows down that actually lifts the head, draws the shoulders away. Breathing into it. On the next inhale, this time we're going to press all the way back into child's pose, knees open. So draw those feet together, open the knees wide, sink all the way back, lowering all the way down. However far down, all the way down within your body. Breathe into it. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Just allowing the body to open in its own time. On the next inhale, rising back up, curling the toes under, sinking back into downward facing dog. Walk it in if you need to. Sink back into your heels, spin your knees open, let go of your head. Full expression of dog, find your breath. Two more breaths. Last one. Walk that left foot forward. Walk it forward. And then the right foot, and then the left. So it's an interesting play for the brain to start with the opposite foot. Drop all the way down. Forward fold. This time, release your arms. Let everything swing loose. Feel it open in the back of your arms. Behind the armpits. Swing your hips. Feel it open in your hips. Soften your toes. No gripping. Release those hands down. Inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Hands come up all the way up overhead. Just like where we started when we were seated, as if you're capturing the rays of the sun and bringing them right down into the top of your heads. Now, as you're standing here, I was gripping my behind. What would it feel like to soften your glutes, spin your knees open to the little toes, anchor down into the 4 points of your feet, slide that tailbone down, lift the belly button back and up, drop out of the shoulder blades and grow long in the crown. Now lift through the right hand, left hand stays up, lift. Yes. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. Draw that air into that left lung. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. Notice how the ribs are moving. I just had 3 ribs move and go back to where they belong. When the ribs are in place, it makes it so much easier to breathe. We're going to do one more each side. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling down. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling down. Inhaling, lifting up through both hands, and then exhaling as if you're moving the atmosphere away. So Reggie, one of the grand dogs, is part German Shepherd, part Husky, and the Husky part of him is quite dramatic. So you'll hear him talking about how abused he is to have to be outside right now. And then spin the hands open, facing forward. Nowhere to go, just standing up. Two more breaths. And then just release it all. Just begin a little movement through the body. So we still haven't twisted yet today, but we're going to pour into tree. He's just figured out there's one more person in the room. He is a guard dog also, he thinks, but he will just really just love you to death. Pour into your right foot, lifting up into the left foot to the leg, inhaling your hands up overhead if you have it. I might have it, I have one. Hey, no barking. Finding your tree, finding your focus, finding that point to look at. Staying with it. If at any time you need to come out of your tree, you can. Exhaling out of your arms. Staying with the tree, staying in your legs if you can. Keeping that focus on that point. Releasing that left leg and then stepping it out. And then give some love to that right leg. Good job, you guys. That was good focus. Hey, no barking. And then pouring into the left leg. Releasing that right foot to the leg. And then drawing the hands up. You say, I want to come do yoga with you. Breathing into it. Nowhere to go. A little play of that core, belly button to the spine, lifting up, tailbone dropping down, bring long in the crown. All those subtle remembering. Exhaling out of your arms, keeping your legs if you can. And then stepping out of that, giving yourself some room. Wiggling those hips, wiggle the ankles, the knees. Wiggle the whole body if you need to. If you ever watch children, they'll do something, they'll hold really still, and then they'll wiggle like crazy people. And so there's something about the wiggling that really allows the body to open back up. So then find your mountain pose. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, swan dive forward. Scooping all the way down. For those of you who can squat, come into a squat. I'm not squatting. If you can't squat, come to your knees. Sink back as far as you can. I'm still working on opening those channels of squatting. One day it'll be with me. And then as you're ready, roll back onto your bottom or softly lower down, coming all the way down. Legs out in front of you, shake them out. Welcome to the floor. So, grow up nice and tall here. Feet are working through the heels. Take a nice deep breath in, inhaling up, exhaling forward into Yay Dandasana. Shoulders down. Let go of the jaw, lengthen through the crown. So as you lengthen through the crown, notice there's a slight tip in the chin, so the back of the neck can open. But even though you're tipping in the chin, notice if you can draw your head back over your shoulders and your shoulders down. Nice deep inhale coming up. Engage that pelvic floor. Now we're gonna roll straight down, and if you're not comfortable doing that, help yourself. Belly buttons to the spine, rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Arms up overhead, touch the floor, and then engage the pelvic floor, tuck the chin, roll right back up. Yes, so what does that look like supported? Hands are on the floor, walk yourself back, elbows down, lower down. As you come up, tuck the chin onto your elbows, walk yourself up. The important thing is here that you keep the belly button into the spine. Feel that core strong. The spine should always be touching the floor. We're only going to do 3 more of these. Help yourself. No straining, only helping. Rolling back down. This is 2. So remember, support is good. This is the last one. Roll yourself up. This time go all the way into Dandasana. All the way, touch those toes. Hold them here. Notice how much deeper you can go into this posture after doing just that few little bit of strengthening in the core. Changes the entire posture. Breathing into it. Inhaling the hands up. If you want to walk your feet into standing before you roll down, please do so. Roll yourself down. All the way up. Point the toes, point the fingers. Press that back to the floor. As you press the back to the floor, notice how the body naturally slides down, the tailbone and the belly button with the spine lifting up. Now scoop in the right knee. Scoop it in. Draw it into the chest. And then engage that core and bring it across the body. So at this point, we've done nothing with the arms. I just really want the twist to come in. Do it slowly on the exhale. And then as you roll into the twist, pick up the shoulders and flatten them on the floor. Then open your right arm. Open it wide. And if you want a deeper twist, look towards that hand. Soften into this twist. Letting go of everything except the belly button and the spine and the tailbone sliding down, which would be the core. Protecting your low back. Supporting you in this twist. And remember, more is not necessarily more. Less is more. So work to your edge. Back off of it. Exhale, challenge it. Inhale, back off of it. Exhale, challenge. Inhale, draw your nose back to center. Exhale, challenge the twist. Inhale, engage that core. Draw the knee in. All the way in. Feel that back flatten against the floor. Exhale, draw the knee in. Inhale, release it out. Extend through that left heel. Exhale, draw the knee in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. This time as you exhale, release the leg out, but then open it wide. Exhale wide. There you go. Inhale back in, exhale, lowering it down. Switch sides. So I always have to wiggle around before I switch sides, so I have the sensation of being flat on the floor. And then as you bring that left knee in, re-engage that belly button to the spine, lifting up, tailbone down to the floor. Slight little kegel. Then begin the journey across the body, twisting into it. Remember, legs first before you open the arms up. Notice how this side's different. I'm a little tighter on this side, so I'm going to have to do a little more work to flatten my shoulders to the mat. Open that arm after you flatten the shoulders, and then look to the hand. Breathe into it. Notice what's letting go. Notice what you're willing to soften into. Notice you're safe. Safe to let go of one more layer. Layer of what? It doesn't matter. Two more breaths. Last one, release the head, release the arm, take a deep breath in. The next inhale, begin to come out of your twist, remembering to support yourself. Lengthen through that right leg. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Last time, exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Drop that foot down. Wiggle yourself flat on the floor. Lengthen through both legs, both arms. Reach up, point the toes, deepen it. Deepen, deepen. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Point, 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 point. Let it go to the big side. Take a moment to feel how your body feels different. Lengthen through the crown of your head, lengthen through the base of your spine, and then scoop both knees in. Both knees in. Drop them in. Let them travel into your armpits. Headed to happy baby. Yes. So, this baby may or may not be happy today. Oh, there it is. Sometimes it takes a minute to find where the hips will open. Drop into it. Maybe wiggle your jaw. Smile. It's funny how the hips open when we smile, bringing joy to our practice. If there's no smile there, just wiggle your jaw side to side. Find your breath. Then begin to lengthen through your heels, coming into wide angle. Now, I have to let go of my toes and take hold of my ankles, but keep working through your heels. Keep working through. Spin those toes back like they're going to go point behind your head. Two more breaths. You can do it. And then close the legs, you can help them. So that this is like supine dandasana. We're laying on our back, working through our heels, reaching for the toes, but everything's flat on the floor. Setting the left foot down, keeping the right foot up. Crossing the right ankle over the left knee. Hands come right in between that leg as we come in to reverse pigeon. Straighten that leg. Now, if you don't want it as deep, you can leave your leg down, but make sure you use your right elbow against the right knee to open the hip. And then lengthen that foot up. Circle the ankle. So it doesn't matter whether your leg is straight or bent, circle that left ankle. And then reverse it. And then point and flex. And point and flex. And just flex it in, draw it in a little further. Release that leg down if you have it. Draw it in a little further. Belly button to the floor, soften it down. And then release the leg down. Switching sides, so right leg comes down, left leg crosses over. Scoop those hands in between, take a hold of the back of your thigh. Left elbow to the left knee or the thigh, whatever, into the middle of your thigh is fine. And then if you have the space, lengthen the leg, draw it in a little more, circle that foot. Reverse it. Nicely done. Oh, yummy. Circle it around. Nicely done. And then bring it in just a little bit more, releasing that knee down. Breathe into it. What's one layer of one thing that you can soften? So my one layer is I'm going to soften that sacrum, the big bone in my lower back, right in between my glutes to the floor. And in letting go of that and softening, it's releasing all the way up outside of my leg. It's very subtle and very powerful. And release it down. Release that leg, shake it out. Shake it out. Let go of your hands. And you're ready for Shavasana unless you need a blanket or if you have any other posture you would like to do today. If you want to bridge, you can. We did some back bends, so our Cobras covered the back bend. Softening down to the floor. And as you prepare for Shavasana, you cover yourself up to hold that heat in. Seasons of change. As I walk in the cold, brisk air in the morning, I see the changes happening around me, happening within me. As beauty changes seasons to season, so do I. At time, blooming full, at other times, resting dormant. All seasons are necessary. It creates the balance of life. It creates the balance within.
Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Inviting yourself back to now. Bring your hands to your heart. We're going to do one Om today. And so we'll take a nice deep breath in, let it out. Deep breath into Om. Om Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. Namaste, everybody.